Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. I've been kind of MIA this month, mostly taking a break off of social media as well as these YouTube videos to really focus on transitioning into a new job at work, and it's been stressful to say the least. So there's been a lot of guilty pleasure reads this month, including a reread of my favorite series of all time. As you can guess, this video is all about every book that I read in the month of April. I read 11 books in total, and I didn't get to some books that I was planning on getting to, and started and finished entire series this month that I had no plans on reading anytime soon. So a lot of mixed up crazy stuff, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the first book I read. I started off April with a buddy read with my friend from Instagram, and we read An Ember in the Ashes by Sama Tahir, and this was really surprising. I knew that a lot of people loved it, and I thought that I would like it. I didn't think I would love it as much as I did. This is by far one of the best books I read this month, and it was great. An Ember in the Ashes is an epic YA fantasy with lots of ties to Middle Eastern lore and legend. It focuses on class politics and this special school that has been raising these masks, which are basically like super soldiers for their entire lives, and they are awful. We also follow our main character as she is part of a race called the Scholars that are being fairly discriminated against, and wow, she's a great character. I really enjoyed this. I know my friend I was reading it with didn't enjoy it as much as I did, but I thought it was really well rounded and sets up a great rest of the series. The next 3 books that I read in the month of April is the Accursed, So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kennemer, her entire trilogy, and I have some mixed feelings about this. Accursed, So Dark and Lonely. A girl named Harper from Washington, D.C. is spirited away into a magical world in which she is forced to break a curse by falling in love with a prince. Very retelling of Beauty and the Beast. It has some nice little twists in it, simply the fact that the season keeps restarting every time he does not find love. I think that's a good little take on it. And the fact that they give her cerebral palsy is another way that they can kind of bring in diversity and start showing people of different kinds of backgrounds in these classic stories, and I love that. Overall, it was cute. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Maybe it was more like a 3.5 to me, but I felt like being generous, and Goodreads really only goes by the full stars anyway. A Heart So Fierce and Broken, the second book, follows a completely different cast of characters entirely. I don't want to go into who they are for trying not to spoil the series. So I ended up enjoying this story a whole lot more than the first one, and I thought that it got way more into politics, trying to avoid war, trying to accept parts of yourself, and it also kind of got a little bit into magic. Definitely not a hard magic system at all, but I thought it was way more interesting, and the romance was way more realistic. So this is an interesting one. Again, all of these are kind of very YA in my opinion. I usually read on the NA side of YA. This is like pure YA. But yeah, I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was fantastic. And the only reason I didn't give it more was because I felt like they should have just made a longer book for all of the political stuff that they wanted to get into that they just like didn't have time to do. And finally, A Vow So Bold and Deadly, the final book in the trilogy. I liked how this ended, specifically with how people end up and the roles they fulfill, but I did not really enjoy the first 2/3 of the book. I thought that it was just kind of like boring and kind of a rehashing of the first book, and I just I gave it 3 or 4 stars. I forget. I think it was 3 stars. I was not impressed. I liked how it ended. I'll leave it there. I think they could have done more, and as I say with most books that I read on this channel, it could have been like 200 pages longer and I would have loved it, but it wasn't, and because of that, it kind of felt rushed, and I really didn't get the satisfying ending that I wanted for a lot of these characters. The next book I read was a Kindle book, and it is Ruin and Rising, the last book in the Grisha trilogy, and I thought this one was the best by far. I really liked that Alina finally kind of became a little bit of a darker character, and I also really enjoyed how the war went and how everything was. I don't think any of that is spoilers. I liked the ending. I don't like who she ended up with, which I think is a common sentiment among fans. But I thought that it was really good. Yeah, I'll leave it there. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I definitely think it's the best one of the trilogy. That being said, I finished it right before the TV show came out, so I have watched a few episodes of the TV show so far, and I think it is phenomenal. I like the changes that they have made, and others I think are questionable choices. The next book I read was Blood and Honey by Shelby Maharan, and this was the sequel to Serpent and Dove. Gods and Monsters is coming out soon as well. I don't know if it's actually already come out. Either way, I really thought that I was gonna love this book because I liked Serpent and Dove, even though everyone hates it because it's very tropey and it's my kind of tropes. But I actually thought that this was a much worse book. I did not like the generated drama that they put between Lou and Reed because it very much felt generated. And I really didn't enjoy the plot. Like, I didn't think that was good either. So it was just like overall a wash for me. There were some characters that were introduced that I liked and some characters that were taken out that I liked. How it worked, yeah, whatever. Either way, I ended up only giving this 2 out of 5 stars. I did not think there was a lot to go off of here. So here's to hoping Gods and Monsters is better because I liked Serpent and Dove, but alas. So the next books I read this month, I had grand plans to read epic fantasies and culture myself and read amazing, beautiful works of art, and instead I read the entire Madison Kate 4-book series on Kindle. It's smut. It's trash, it's steamy. But I got through it all very quickly. And, you know, no stigma, no judgment. Go me. Anyway, the Madison Kate 4-book series is a reverse harem that has gangsters, college life. It has a really cool serial killer plot as well as a crazy stalker plot throughout the entire series. And they are very compelling, which I was actually surprised about because let me tell you, I did not plan on reading this series for the plot. But I actually ended up enjoying it quite a bit. The steamy scenes are indeed steamy, and there is that enemies to lovers trope throughout the whole thing, and I just genuinely had a good time and enjoyed it. It's a fun little ride. If you're looking for a reverse harem that is not Den of Vipers, because Den of Vipers scarred me emotionally, but maybe like a step down from that, then I would recommend the Madison Kate book series. It was good. It was steamy, it was good, it was trashy, and it actually had a somewhat good plot, and I was very surprised. And the last book that I read this month was a reread for me. I was just feeling a little stressed out from work, down in the dumps, because I wasn't being as productive as I would like on social media and this channel, and so I decided to reward myself a little bit and do a reread of A Court of Mist and Fury, the second book in the Accursed series. I cannot speak about this book without giving spoilers, so here is a spoiler warning. If you have not read ACOTAR, I am going to spoil things. Anyway, I reread this book, found so many different details and that I had missed my first time around and that I didn't even realize that I had. Silly little things too, like the fact that the House of Wind is more in a like Utah-esque mountain, the ones with the red that are red and flat-topped, rather than the mountains that I kind of associate with Valaris, like those really pointy kind of like Swedish Norway mountains. In fact, that's not what the House of Wind mountains and like certain ones around there look like at all, and that was kind of crazy to me. And I guess I just always thought of it, they said it and I just left my mind immediately. So there was just like cool little details that I picked up on again and that are like helping me visualize, especially as we get closer to a possible TV show. That's gonna be awesome. What can I say? I'm a sucker and I have a lot of opinions about this book series. If you want me to make a video about all of my, you know, crazy biased opinions on this series, including A Court of Silver Flames, A Court of Frost and Starlight, everything in between and such, I would be very happy to do that. And yeah, let me know. Anyway guys, that is the end of the video. I promise to be posting a little bit more in May. Things are kind of settling in my job, so hopefully I will have a little bit more bandwidth, a little less stress, and I can fully engage on Instagram and YouTube again. That is the goal, at least. Please like and comment below. I am so excited to finally be back with you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video, hopefully sooner than the end of the month.